Guys, today I'm going to be doing a review on this Rotablade Stubby Lite. Now, Rotablade has been in the spinner game for quite a while, definitely close to as long as Scam Designs, which is the first spinner, and they've been at it before all these 3D printed ones. But the ones that they've been making have been a little bit more along the price range or more expensive than the torque bar, made out of materials like brass, titanium, stainless steel. I think I've seen a copper one or two. But the problem with that is they're made in the UK first off, and their availability is so low compared to the demand. So the supply does not meet the demand, thus you have what happened to the torque bar a year ago, where the prices were skyrocketing. Now, the Stubby, the prices aren't skyrocketing to the same level as the torque bar did. A titanium Stubby will now run you around the 200 to 250 mark. Whenever I got mine, whenever I had one, you can look at my original hand spinner video. That one only cost me 170. I did flip it for more though. But my point is that there's a very high demand for the Stubbies and very low supply, and I think what Rotablade did to help solve this, I think the owner's name is Paul Watson, is he created the Stubby Lite, which is more of a available and budget option. So this one from him will run you, I believe it was $65-ish, and it comes in the same nice little case. Fits nice in there, but it'll run you about $65 from him, and on the secondary market it's running from $80 to $100. So I'm going to be talking about this spinner, doing a review on all of its components and what makes spinners good. So first off, I would like to start with a caveat. Right now I have aftermarket buttons on it. This came with the one that I bought aftermarket. Whoops, sorry about that. These are the buttons that normally come on the Stubby. They are of your color choosing. They have blue, red, and I believe they also have white. Overall, the buttons function the same way. You can see they both have a milled groove at the edge, which keeps your thumb secure on it, so you don't accidentally slip. I find myself, whenever I spin these hard, these can fly out of my hands because there's no texture. And even to some degree, the Stubby, or the torque bar has the same issue, even though it's dished. The buttons are very smooth, so oftentimes it can slip out of my fingers. But no problems here with the Stubby. And also, these buttons and the plastic buttons all have the same level of slop in the mechanism. There's not a lot here. Whenever you have two barred or a barred spinner, and it's not a tri-spinner, a lot of times it's easier for there to be a pivot plate, and there's just a tad here. But honestly, for the price point, it's about just the same as the Stubby titanium. But back to these buttons, they have the same tolerances, and they were done rather well for being plastic, so no complaints there. However, if you do get the chance to pick up one with the aftermarket, I would definitely prefer that because I like how the silver matches the silver on the balls. Anyway, so first off, I'm going to talk about what everyone wants to hear on spinner. What's the spin time? So for this, I clocked in around 4 minutes table spin, and around 5 minutes to 4.5 to 5 minutes vertical spins. So that's pretty impressive, especially for such a small spinner, and it is fairly small. Here it is compared to the torque bar. You can see that it's stubbier than the torque bar. See what I did there? You compare that to like the Cali 3. This is about the size of a Delica or a large Sabenza. And you just compare it to my hand, and you can see how small it is. Whenever I first got these spinners, I always get caught off guard by how small they are, especially the torque bar. I was really surprised whenever I got this, but the size makes it very impressive that it goes for 4 minutes, because there's a lot less weight and a lot less, a lot less helping the spin. That does, however, the size does make it very carryable. This can fit in your watch pocket or your change pocket or whatever that pocket's called. It fits in there very easily. Doesn't really disrupt or bulge out. This spinner, the Infinite Spin, which is a really nice spinner off of Amazon, I have a video on it. This can go into that watch pocket, but it's just not as comfortable because of how big it is. And because it's so thick and chunky, it kind of sticks out and pokes my knives and makes it difficult to extract them. No problems here with the Stubby though, very carryable, and just a great overall size. Another thing that the size is kind of a plus on is, the spinners has crossed into the mainstream fad territory. Now everyone wants a spinner. Most of the time though, it's these huge 3D printed ones, and I say huge because these two comparatively, this one is much larger, and it's much more obvious when you're spinning it. It's much more distracting when you see someone spinning this than when you see someone spinning this, in my opinion. This is very obtrusive and large and stuff, and this is very incognito. So that's another plus in my opinion. So I talked about spin time. I talked about the size. The construction and tolerances are very precise. I find the tolerances and bearings, you wouldn't expect anything less. I don't know the name of these bearings, but it's the same one that you find in all your high-end spinners, like the Torque Bar and the Infinite Spin, and even the higher-end CKF ones all have the same bearings for good reason. Those are good bearings. But as I was saying, the tolerances and the effort put into this is, honestly, I think it's this on par with the more expensive titanium stubbies and stainless steel ones. The only difference is materials, which is the next point I'm going to go into. This is made with injected plastic, not 3D printed like most of these other spinners are, but they added these balls in here for weight, which I think is a lot classier than whatever the heck these ball bearings are that are put on all the 3D printed ones for weight. I think that this is much more discreet and classier in my opinion. The material does glow in the dark. I have a lot of people ask me that, and yes, it does. Now spinning, the ergonomics while spinning, I know this sounds super dorky, but I mean, there is something to it. Some spinners are just easier to spin than others. The Infinite Spin and the Torque Bar spin very well for me, but I've had a couple spinners, some even 3D, that just don't spin very well. But the Stubby are probably my favorite ones to spin, just because there is quite a big distance in between your fingers, which is a little bit more comfortable than that of the Torque Bar. The Torque Bar has skinnier buttons. I do plan on eventually getting the upgrade, or the thicker buttons to allow table spins and stuff. Anyway, that's very comfortable for me, grabbing it like this. And then also the way that the body is designed, it really is easy to kind of get your finger caught on this corner and then just give it a good spin. And it's really easy to stick your finger in there while spinning. So overall, it's a very easy or very good design that helps and aids in spinning, and it doesn't hinder it in any way. Some of the blockier ones that I've spun or that I've had, they do make it very difficult to spin, but no problems here. So overall, I think that's it. We talked about the tolerances, we talked about the spin time, we talked about the materials, we talked about the carryability, and the spin and the actual process of spinning. And that's really all I wanted to say on this. I think that for the value, I think that Rotablade has really hit a good price point here. Even at $100, I think that it's worth it, because it's, even though it is just $40 less than a Torque Bar, and I would recommend getting a Torque Bar first, this definitely has some advantages over the Torque Bar in my opinion. and I think that it's well worth the money. And if you can't get your hands on a titanium stubby, or you don't want to fork over the cash, then I would definitely recommend going this route. So that's it, guys. I'll catch you all in the next video, and y'all have a great day. Oh, one more thing, actually. If you're still here, you may have already tuned out. Is sound. I find this to be actually quieter than the titanium stubbies. So a lot less distracting there. I knew I was forgetting something. So, yep, there it is. And now, y'all have a great day.